Our guest today is Shekhar Shastri. He is a founder and director of Meru Education Foundation, which produces Raag. And they are organizing a wonderful program in April about conversation. That's how I'm going to rephrase it, conversation between folk music and classical music. So Shekhar, welcome to our studio.
Thank you, Pendra.
And thanks for really coming to here and talk about your program. When I was talking to you earlier, you summarized it so well, and that sentence has stuck in my head, that your program is going to be a conversation between folk music and classical music. So first I want you to define what is the folk music and what is classical music, and how you are going to portray the conversation between these two at the program for the audience.
Thank you, Pendra. I love India New England News.
Thank you.
Our favorite publication.
Thank you.
You have done a marvelous job of bringing the people of New England together.
Thank you.
And it's a great way that you are connecting so many different intellectuals, artists, and with their various community activists together. Similarly, Meru's purpose is to touch people's hearts with the arts and culture of India.
Now, since you mentioned Meru, I have to ask you this question.
Yes.
That the name Meru is come from that mountain in India. Can you just, in one simple sentence, you can say what the Meru means?
Absolutely. Meru is the axis mundi, or the center of the cosmos. So it is the mythical cosmos in the Indian context, in the Buddhist context, and even in Africa. So it is a common theme, and the reason that we have chosen also is that we want to help people find their own true center.
Excellent. So now let us move from Meru to Raag.
Yes.
Okay. So tell us about Raag concept before we come to the folk and the classical
Sure.
music.
Raag is a entertaining way of getting inspired about classical Indian music.
So the classical is always the
Always.
core. Sure. Okay.
Always is there. And the classical is always at the core, and the popular is always there because it has to be entertaining. Because we feel that entertainment should be educational and education should be entertaining.
Sure, absolutely. So now the one thing which really intrigued me about your upcoming program, which is on April 9th at Lexington Heritage Museum in Lexington.
That's right.
Was that, the music, I think the first we had a folk music, and then we had classical music, and then pop music, and all these things came. But I think everything starts there. So if for a lay person like us, if you can tell us a little bit, define the folk music and the classical music.
Great, certainly.
Okay.
Because your audiences are very tech savvy.
Sure.
So if it is okay, I'll use some technology terms.
Excellent.
So classical music is like an operating system.
Like in computers, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Software operating system. So you have Windows, or you have an Apple, you have iOS, or you have Android, right? So what does an operating system enable? It enables the basics of, especially the classical music. If you want to look at it as an operating system, it gives you the idioms or the techniques and the technologies of being able to make sound beautiful, so that it appeals to you. However, for different people in different seasons, different regions, different languages, and different contexts and different moods, different emotions, you require customization. That's why there is only one single iPhone, or there is only one Android or one Windows operating system, but you have thousands and thousands of apps. Think of folk compositions as those, or the popular music or film music. Think of those things as apps.
I think that's a very nice way to really, now you can really understand that, yes. And more apps are coming every day.
Yes.
So more and more variation of music we are going to.
And you know what is magical, Upendra, is that classical Indian music at heart is a innovation factory. So once you have access and internalize the grammar of classical music, you can create a new melody, you can create a song, you can create 10 songs. Every Indian film has 5 to 15 songs. True?
Sure.
How are the composers able to actually generate all the time? So there are thousands of songs being created across India if you want to look at it, from all the movies. Thousands of songs are getting created. Reason being, because our operating system, the classical music, the system is so powerful that you can create and innovate.
So now I have another question for you. Is, say that I'm someone who is watching this interview, and I heard about this conversation between the folk music and the classical music. So I'm very intrigued, and I really want to know that when I come to attend the program, what I'm going to expect there. So somehow if you can give some type of preview, that as a producer of the program, how you are going to portray this conversation there in front of the audience. And who are the players, how you're going to do that.
Certainly. The framework here is that India is very rich in its musical traditions. And you go to south, you have many different types of music. North, east, west, center of India, wherever you travel, you have a lot of different types of... So that's, in Raag Rang, if Raag connotes the classical core, Rang is the colors, the variegation, and the diversity that is available in Indian heritage. So the colors come from actually it's almost like a journey that you'll come to the show, Raag Rang, this time on April 9th, and you'll see, you'll feel as if you have gone on a journey of India.
Different parts of India.
Different parts of India.
Okay.
And of course, it's difficult for us to actually touch everything, but in those 2.5 hours, you'll actually just get a capsule of the lyrical, the melodic India.
Through music.
Yes, through music.
Are there going to be dances too, or just purely singing?
We always keep it only sing. It's always only music.
Okay.
Both instrumental and vocal.
Yeah. And there's going to be live orchestra there?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So we have 11 singers. And
who are some of the singers? I don't want to name everyone, but just...
Yeah, but Shuchita Rao, Meena Sundaram, Shankar Gangai Kondan, Dilip Acharya, so some of them, and similarly we have a live orchestra, so we have, Christine Matthew, Sujit Panse on flute, and Hiral Parekh on drums, Kaushik Chakravarti on tabla. So, we have a ensemble, our orchestra. The ensemble itself is, there are 9 people there.
Excellent. So now, in order to produce such a big undertaking a program, how many hours you guys really spend in rehearsals and working on this?
End to end, the production of each Raag Rang takes about 6 months.
6 months. So for this one, you started almost 4 or 5 months ago.
Already, yeah.
Already.
Yeah, and there is a lot of work that goes into constructing, because just while each song or a composition, any item that is being presented there can be considered a piece by itself which stands. But then when you think of the overall evening, what we are going to produce, that is a composition itself. It has to hang together, right?
Okay.
So when you say, a dialogue or a conversation, our real conversation is with our audiences.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
So it is that, so we choreograph that dialogue ahead of time, actually. Just, what is it that will be delightful? How will they feel entertained?
So now let's get a little bit more specific now. So let us pick folk songs.
Yes.
And I come from Bhojpuri area, so
Yes.
which is very rich in a lot of of course
Yes.
all the part, but this is the one I understand. Is there going to be any item from the Bhojpuri area?
Absolutely. Because I'm very partial to it.
Okay.
Because I don't know how many of your audiences know that I'm South Indian. I'm Kannada. By my genes are Kannada. But I was born in Bihar, in Gaya.
Okay.
You know, just not very far from where Mahatma Buddha became enlightened. And so I was born in Bihar, and I did my college. I went to Banaras Hindu University. So I was there for 5 years. So I have, I'm a son of Bihar.
Okay.
And I'm also actually, my youth was, an important part was spent in Banaras.
Right.
How can I forget it?
Sure,
actually, and it's
absolutely.
very dear to me.
Okay.
And when you actually just think of, the lyrical quality of just day-to-day life over there, it's unmatched.
So I don't want you to, if you don't want to, like, can you give an example that what we might see from in?
Yeah, I can actually, when we say, for example, that how does classical and folk meet, okay? When you think of Thumris, okay?
Yeah.
Banaras is known for Thumris.
Absolutely.
Right?
Sure.
Actually. Ghazals.
Yeah.
Did you know that Begum Akhtar is from Banaras? Right?
Yeah.
You know. And so there is such rich musical tradition over there. And Rajan Sajan Mishra come from there.
Yeah, sure.
There is Kajri there, there is Chaiti there, So these are musical genres, okay? So we had a very rich set of stuff available just from that area itself.
Right. What about if I ask you to pick up something, say, from Bengal or some other area you were focusing on?
Bengal and the Northeast is going to be represented in very intense manner. In fact, we have heard of Rabindra Sangeet quite a great deal.
Yes, we have.
Oh, but there are at least half a dozen fabulous kinds of singing. Baul Sangeet, there is Najrul Giti, there is Bhatiyari. So so there are boatman song. You remember actually that that S.D. Burman in most of his movies, there is one song that he is singing, a boatman song,
right.
something there, which captures where for example, in film Aradhana, so he's singing ki puri hogi teri aradhana, kahe ko roye, and then in Sujata, sun mere bandhu re. So what he is doing is, he was from Tripura, but he's picking up all those things from the northeast, and he turned it such unforgettable songs in the films.
So we should be able to get a glimpse into all these.
Oh, you will see actually a lot. So you'll see stuff, as I mentioned to you, Tripura, and you'll see Assam, you'll see Bengal there, and Odisha, from northeast itself. Actually, people are not aware that there is such strong traditions actually. In fact, there are great classical traditions in Assam. Really? Bengal people know, yeah. And there are great classical traditions in Odisha. In fact, the great Sanskrit poet Jayadev wrote Geet Govind. Which Indian classical dancer has not done a Geet Govind Ashtapadi? So it is a part of a dancer's repertoire, a standard this thing. It came from Odisha.
Yeah. Now this is again my ignorance here, but generally when we think about folk music and all, we think about North and Northeast and UP and all, Rajasthan. What about South India? I always, when I think about South Indian music, I think it was very classical, very. Yes. Is there any the folk?
Yes.
Is there going to be anything in your program from South India?
Of course, we always have. In fact, when you look at our team, it is at least 50% South Indian, also, and at least the origin of those people. But of course, we always have. In fact, there is so much innovation that has taken place. The South Indians also, just like the Bengal people, maybe it was because of the Madras residency and so on, there was always new kinds of innovation, taking place. Even the influence of Western music coming through that. So I don't want to give it away, but you will actually see there are many different currents taking place, and there are many conversations taking place in different styles of music that is taking place. So of course, when you go to Tamil Nadu or one example when you asked me earlier, which came in the interview that you printed also, is that Purandar Das was a great poet, saint of Karnataka, and people take pride, the Kannada people or the South Indian people in general. Actually, everyone sings Purandar Das's bhajans, But are you going to say that those are it's folk music or it's classical? Because Purandar Das is also a great classical musician. So it's it's difficult to demarcate whether it is belong to the folk tradition or classical.
Yeah. Now we cannot complete our talk about music without talking about Bollywood.
Yes.
So
of course.
how this the folk songs and classical music play into Bollywood?
Bollywood was and is still the biggest platform for all Indian performing artists to manifest, right? Whether it was Ustad Amir Khan in Baiju Bawra or Pandit Bhimsen Joshi, they all actually just came to Bombay and performed in the movies. It's where it was, the great dancers like Vijayanti Mala and Wahida Rahman, they became actually just, film stars.
Sure.
Similarly, the musicians have repeatedly come, and Shubha Mudgal in recent years have actually come and performed in Indian film music. So even composers such as Naushad, whether it was Roshan, so on. So we adjust as we have done in the past 3-4 years with Raag. Bollywood is the biggest clearinghouse of musical innovation over there. So whether it is folk music, for example, you remember those the Teesri Kasam?
Right, yeah, of course, yes.
Every song touches
absolutely,
you.
Absolutely.
Each time you listen to it,
yes, absolutely,
you feel that you're complete, right? It comes from the Banaras, Bihar area.
Yes, sure.
And
very much folk.
Very much folk, but it is so lyrical. It comes from a movie.
Yes, true.
Okay. Similarly, there are things that, for example, just Sanjay Leela Bhansali has done a fabulous job of actually bringing out the culture of Gujarat, making it really very elaborately fancy, right? In his grand movies, even recently, in Bajirao Mastani, for that matter, just he has done he has taken and Hum Dil De Chuke Sanam, for example, or Ram Leela, whatever, is just visual treat, musical treat. Okay, and always, so the folk and classical are always mixing there. Also, there is so much of innovation that is taking place. So of course, folk music as presented by in Indian films, classical music as presented by Indian films. It is actually just the Bollywood and other films from across India. Music from there is a very integral part of our show.
So we'll be able to listen to some nice Bollywood music as well. Right?
Absolutely. In fact, you'll find just unique things which are not generally sung in shows.
Okay. So now, 2 Bollywood songs which you absolutely admire, which are based on the classical music, the classical system, yes. What will be yours, your favorite?
Oh, for example, Muhammad Rafi singing, which we have already done in Raag earlier. It was Man Tarpata Hari Darshan Ko Aaj, matlab in Baiju Bawra. It was in Raag Malkons. He sang that.
Okay.
And then Lata Mangeshkar ji sang O Sajna Barakha Bahar Aayi. And so these are all classical based. Madan Mohan ji actually gave the music for that song. But these are all essentially classically based, songs.
Excellent.
And
now, I also want to go back, 4 years ago when you did your first show.
Yes.
And so tell me how that came up and how that was, and how the Raag run has evolved
Yes.
over the last few years.
Yeah, so people have, so initially, as I mentioned to you, actually, just Meru's purpose is to present Indian culture in a very entertaining manner. Okay. Some people, after seeing it once and twice, the second time, people came me said that you are very deceptive. We came for entertainment and went back educated. So I said, wow. So we are doing our work. And that's exactly what it is actually, is that people should feel inspired. And as a result of Raag Rang, what has happened is that many younger people or other people, actually adults, have gone and started learning music, classical music.
So do you think that Raag Rang has created some interest in the classical music here?
Tremendous. You can ask many of our team members, because some of them, like Shushita Rao, is a teacher. Also, Uma Shankar is a teacher. You can ask them actually just how many people have gotten inspired and then gone actually just are starting and learning music now.
Now, since let's just a little bit on the classical music, how do you look at the future of classical music, and how this new technology is either advancing classical music or being a deterrent?
It's a complex question, and the technologies also make it appear very simple, and this era of very nanosecond attention span, right? People are always on the cell phones. To develop a learn a khayal, for example, a composition, it takes serious work, where you have to switch off all distractions and really focus on the sound. So the technologies have made the distractions more available and difficult. But on the other hand, because of the recording technologies are available, now and also tele-education, access. For example, Shankar Mahadevan teaches music across the world right now.
Sure.
He's sitting in Mumbai, but his students are all over the world. Similarly, most leading musicians now are teaching wherever they are sitting, whether they are sitting in Florida or whether they are sitting in Banaras, they are teaching music. And there are students are all over the place, all over the world right now. So tele-education has enabled the aspirants, the students, to learn from great masters also. Okay. And similarly, so many music teachers have gotten access to really the music enthusiasts all over the world. Yeah. So that has become actually just available. And in addition, recording technologies are such that Pandit Bhimsen Joshi is not here today, alive anymore, but you can listen to his composition 2,000 times, sure, and you can learn.
Yeah,
so then, once you have learned it, you can call Pandit Bhimsen Joshi your guru.
Sure.
Okay? Yeah. So it has become actually just many things which are not possible earlier now are possible. For example, we use certain apps, because we are talking of the operating system and apps. One of the apps that we use also enables you to, it is an electronic tanpura. It is like the drone that you can play. You can set the scale and the tempo, this, that, and so many of those things that you can. The tabla is also the electronic tabla, and so people say that, it is taking away from the acoustic instruments. Yes, at one level it is taking away. On the other hand, the flip side is that it is so easy to get the right note. So when you practice, you know that you are practicing on C sharp.
Excellent.
Clearly you know that it is not higher or lower. This is, you got the exact shruti. And so you also learn. So for someone who is willing to work hard can utilize these technologies, and it is phenomenal what you can do with it.
Excellent. Well, Shekhar, thank you very much, and looking forward to your program.
Yes.
And hopefully we'll have first-hand experience of all these things we talked today.
Great. Excellent.
And all the best for the program.
Thank you. So we want your audiences to actually just come and join us on Saturday, April 9th, National Heritage Museum.
Absolutely. Excellent. Great.
Thanks, Supendra.
Sure.